Very well. Just waiting for the presentation to come up, and here we are. First of all, thank you, Edu, for this amazing event. Once again, thank you for hosting us. It's a pleasure, and a pleasure to see you all. And as Tony kindly referred about electronic bill presentment, our intention here is also to show our vision, how this can be seen as a strategic step to embrace the corporate customer experience. So I'm going to be talking about not only electronic bill presentment, but also the bridge between the customer journey for your business-to-business customers, for your corporate customers. It's a kind of side theme of what you're having, but believe me, probably you're going to have a cup of coffee on your office on Monday or Tuesday, and you're going to sit down with a guy that has the pain that we are sorting, and you are fed up of listening to him. So you're going to be able to tell him, look, I don't want to listen to you anymore. I'm doing you a favor. Talk to these guys. They're going to sort it out. So before I start, I belong to Saphety. Saphety is a sister company of WUG Technology. We are based in Portugal, but spread a little bit around the world. And this is important because for us to be here, there's a story behind and why we consider ourselves experts in this matter. So Saphety has several different business areas, and one of them is EDI, electronic invoice, electronic data interchange, electronic invoice. And we are doing this since 2002. And around 4 years ago, we start to discover that the journey of digital transformation in the invoice, especially with the corporate customers, doesn't end by delivering an invoice in a digital way. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on that part of the value chain that once the invoice arrives to your corporate customers, that is not being done properly. And was us providing these kind of services of EDI that we start to listen to them, say, look, our work is not over in the digital transformation journey. So 4 years ago, we looked better to this, and we saw that there was an opportunity here. At the same time, and talking a lot with the telecom operators, it's no secret that you guys are facing a hard time. Market is complex, different directions, and when they are focused on corporate customers, new variables need to come up besides looking for price or equipment. So what we have done was try to merge certain variables that already exist in the industry and see how can we present, how can we pitch what we are doing in order to cover these macro variables that are common to telecom operators. So you cannot see very well, I apologize for that, but basically this was a survey made by Telecom and All Industry in 2018 about what are the great potential threats, and they are variables. But one of them is common to all of them, which is inability to lower the increased pressure to lower price and profit margins. So there's something that is common among of you, that you are facing a challenge that you are not only lowering price, but you are also reducing profit margins. And if you focus on profit margins and combine with the revenue per user in the telecom industry, is decreasing. So this is a kind of perfect storm. You have lower margins, lower price, and the revenue per user is reducing. At the same time, the number of M&As that are happening in this industry is unbelievable. Every year is rising. In 2006, PwC predicted that there was an amount around $224 billion spending in this area, which crossed a bit. So when you are taking your decisions, you are not only been facing external challenge, but also internal channels that comes to systems, people, process, and all of that together. It's something that when we look to solutions like the Saphety that we are doing here, have to have that in mind and have to work with you in these specific areas. So, why do we believe at Saphety that bill presentment is a strategic option to increase profit margin as a priority in order to cover things like revenue per user? How can we turn around and be able to face M&As, ecosystems that are changing your organization that are extremely complex and not affecting or overloaded with new costs, and at the same time be customer-centric? How can we not forget the corporate customer journey that is so important for you to continue your business sustainability regarding the providing of communication of these services? So having this landscape on our mindset, we decided to focus on bill-to-bill presentment. We are now having clients from Vodafone, Orange, or Brazil, so a little bit all over the world, and help you on focus on customer journey, improving that, knowing that there's no single point of improvement, there are multiple points of improvement, and combining all of them and providing a solution such ours. We branded SaphetyBill, which especially focus on that. So, the typical scenario that you have nowadays is you have your billing systems, we call it telco core systems, OSS, BSS. Then you have several presentment layers to your customers, which can be a paper, can be a PDF, can be an invoice delivered in XML, and so on. But you have several billing systems properly, so you have difficult sometimes to aggregate all of this information in one single point. So when we start developing and thinking about bill presentment for corporate customers, we knew it that we could not affect your actual landscape and actually capitalize on that. So at the same time, we look to the costs, the more tangible costs that you have today, and I would say that in B2C arena is almost sorted out. A customer, an individual customer, is only concerned if the invoice that he's receiving is lower or higher the price that he's expecting to pay. So electronic invoicing B2C is a problem sorted out, but in B2B it isn't. For him, it's not enough to receive the invoice by PDF, by XML. He needs to have so much work on their side in order to map his own internal organization in that billing statement that is receiving. A kind of resume of costs that exist nowadays in the industry. This is provided for Billentis. Billentis is a reference for related with billing costs in the telecom in invoice industry. They are stating that for each invoice received by paper versus digital is around 2 euros versus 15 cents. But we are not focused on that. This is something that we already knew it. What we were not aware, for each call that your corporate customers are doing to you have around 5 years of cost to do that. So how can we work on that part in order to simplify this work, reduce what we have in here, increase your margin, because these are costs that you are having that are affecting your margin, and at the same time be able to fulfill their needs related with this area. So what I'm going to talk now is the way that we are approaching that. What is our vision, what we have implemented related with that, and what we believe that should be the right conversation when you are sit down with your colleague that is complaining about billing or your colleague from B2B sales. How can you help them on that? So SaphetyBill was developed thinking in several dimensions. And the dimensions goes from cost, reporting, document presentment, all of this together. But all of this needs to be done without affecting your billing systems. So we develop a solution that receives the same file that you're already producing to send to printers or to your corporate portal, doesn't affect your billing life cycles, and effectively doesn't affect your billing system. So nothing needs to change on your side. You have done a huge investment on that part. You probably are restructuring and do something that could affect the output. So we don't want to touch on that. We want to make sure that you are comfortable with one area that you don't want to put your hands on to implement something like this. And we thought what is important for your customers and what is important for you when you are using a bill presentment solution. So I'm going to just describe briefly what we believe is important for both actors using it. So it's important, of course, to have a landing page that is according with your organization. But it's also important that the solution is able to integrate with whatever system you guys are having. So a solution should be able to have a native portal if it's your strategy, but at the same time should be able to integrate with the solution that you already have, your corporate portal already have, without interfering with the communication that you are doing to your own customers. At the same time, allow your customers to map their own internal organization into the solution. Imagine that you have a customer like a big bank that receives an invoice from you with 50, 60 pages, full of mobile employee numbers, and someone inside needs to divide that by cost centers, by regions, by department. They need to be able to do that whenever they want and how they want it, without bothering you. So if your organization is changing, his own organization is also changing. Yesterday, it was talking in their speech about the individuality of each customer. So the solution needs to be able to respect the individuality of each of your customers. And this is information that you cannot have it in your CRMs. You cannot save it in your CRMs how many cost centers your customer have. You cannot save how many departments he has. It's completely changing every single day. And it's something that he needs to be able to manage the best way that is for his own purpose. Document presentment. You are sending an invoice for fixed services and for mobile service. The same customer is receiving 2 invoices from your company. Should be receiving just one, compiling all of this information? Yes, but that might imply to change your billing systems. Not anymore. You can use bill presentment as a layer on top of that to aggregate that information and deliver to the channel and the layout that you would like for them to receive. Reporting. If they are creating dimensions of information, let them also use that information to do some reporting analytics in order to improve the way that they are consuming your services. And this is where you grow on the value chain, we believe it. You are not only a telecommunication service provider, but you are also something that is understanding his individuality. You are also something that is concerned what is the core business that he has and providing something that, by the way, you are providing communication services, but you are helping them to manage better the costs that you have for them. And now, changing a little bit the mindset to your pain internally. What is the telecom operators? At the same time, the solution, and especially focus on the marketing, we need to give work to the marketing guys on your side. So they are concerned about how you want to brand it, what is the color. So the solution is to be able to cope with that, with all of these guidelines. Reporting on your side. If you are able to understand what is your customer's internal organization when they are behaving, consuming your services, that means that you can aggregate that information and source other systems that you have. If you know that a certain customer of yours has the roaming services all only going to the marketing department and you are able now to collect that information, perhaps you can start to creating new sales strategies based specifically for them. Customer management. You're already managing your customers. Should I need to manage in the solution that like bill presentment? No. What you need is to be able to have a flow of information from one side to another one in order to avoid replication of it and be able to have a single point of treating this information. The same applies to user roles and management. You already have that. So the solution be able to respect what you are probably creating in a single sign-on system or an Active Directory, whatever you might have, and transport that information from one side to another one. And, of course, document present from your side. You can associate to a billing statement information that is not in that billing statement now, but is important for the customer to see it. You can see, okay, here it is the cost that you have, and by the way, I can give you also the CDRs that belong to that billing statement information. And you can work on your side the way that you want it without me having the need to talk to you individually in order to provide these services. You are closing a big contract with a global company that has employees all over the world. And on the contract that you have, you are obliged to present the bills with certain SLAs that it has. You don't have to be worried about that. A solution like ours can focus on that and let you do it whatever you are better on and focus on and is strategically for you. But because our customers, our best business card, we have here a small video from the WUG, which is one of the most complex use cases that we have. Around 1 million corporate and SME companies, around 1.5 million monthly documents being produced. And the video is even in Portuguese with English subtitles, so there's no lack of emotion when our customers are talking about us. So I'm going to just